Yeah, morning everybody, and welcome to Eastwood. Eastwood's a town about 4 miles down the road from where we live, and I lived here for quite some time, about 20 odd years ago, and it has a lot of history. It's an old mining town, but it has one or two famous people from here, and as I say, quite a bit of history for a small place like this. I don't know how many people live here, but it's not very many. So yeah, let's have a walk around, visit one or two places of interest, and let me know what you think. The building behind me is the birthplace of D.H. Lawrence, probably Eastwood's most famous person. Wrote Lady Chatterley's Lover, The White Peacock, and many, many more. Now a museum, and funny enough, I used to own a shop about 2 doors up from here when I lived here. So yeah, D.H. Lawrence, I think he was born in 1885. He didn't live very long. I think he died in the 1930s, 35, something like that. Died abroad, but for some strange reason, from what I can find out, he was actually buried in America, New Mexico or somewhere like that. I'm not quite sure. A lot of the buildings here are named after D.H. Lawrence books and films and what have you. Across the road we have the White Peacock, which is a famous book of his. So I'll just have a quick walk through the town, point out one or two other facts, and film some of the buildings here. Okay, cheers everybody. Well, it's a very windy day, so I'm hoping you can hear me. But behind me is the Sun Inn in Eastwood, just around the corner from D.H. Lawrence's birthplace. And in 1830s, this was the birthplace of the Midland Railway. So quite a little famous landmark, again in such a small town. Okay, let's continue. Very windy today, so I hope the sound's okay. Cheers. Yeah, hi everybody. Well, behind me you can see Moor Green Reservoir, which was featured in a number of D.H. Lawrence books. I believe the most famous one was, let's wait for this traffic to go past. Yeah, the most famous one was Women in Love, which was made into a film with Glenda Jackson and Oliver Reed and I believe Alan Bates. And in that film, a young couple was swimming in here and drowned. It was under a different name, I can't remember what it was, something like Wiley Lake or something. But yeah, a couple in the film drowned, which was based on an actual event that happened here many years ago. And I also have a small connection with this area. So yeah, we'll just walk around the corner and I'll show you. So we've literally just come around the corner 50 yards or so, and this building behind me is Beauvale Lodge, which at one time was like a gatekeeper's house to Beauvale House, which is further up the track. But I actually lived here in the late 1990s for about a year and a half, 2 years, and very quirky inside, rooms all over the place. You had to go to one bedroom to get to another bedroom, and it had not many mod cons, you can say. But yeah, I used to live here, and at weekends this used to be packed with cars for fishermen fishing in the reservoir, which I believe is full of carp. But yeah, just a little connection with D.H. Lawrence and this area. Okay, let's move on. Something else interesting, not too far away. Well, the good news is the more of this paint that I put on, the more I like it. So I've done 2/3 of this island. I'm now going to do this final side. Some little bits down here where the fridge and the freezer are going to go. And when it's dry, I'll have to give it another coat at least, and the panelled wall behind me. So yeah, really pleased with the colour and the way it's turning out and drying. So I shall carry on. Cheers. Well, it's nice to have the first coat on. Hopefully I'll get the second coat on before I finish here. I have to go back to the UK. But as I said earlier, really like the colour, and I'm sure to look even better with the second coat. Right, okay, that's it for the painting bit. On with the next job. Catch you in a while. Well, we've made our way down to St Mary's Church, and I have a little bit of a connection with this place as well. In a former life, I used to be a photographer, a wedding photographer, and I lived just across there. You can actually see the house I lived in from here. And so this was like my local church, and I had a studio over in Eastwood where we've just been, almost next door to the D.H. Lawrence Museum. And I used to do many weddings here, and yeah, it brings back a lot of memories being here again. It's a long time since I've been here, probably 20 years. Another interesting little connection is when I used to do the weddings here, the verger was a lady called Judy, and we've stayed friends. We got to know each other and we've stayed friends, and I actually rented a property off her at one point a long time ago. And she was one of our guests in France. Her and her husband Roger came over and stayed for a couple of weeks in the Gîte in France. So yeah, just a little connection, but they all add up. So yeah, I brought you here because there's something that I find really interesting and fascinating. I love history, and it may not be of much interest to you, but I thought I'd show it you anyway. But in this graveyard is a very special grave. So let me take you over there. Okay, so now I've got to find this grave. So bear with me, I'll come back to you in a second. So here in this little churchyard, graveyard, near to Eastwood, we're probably a mile away, is a grave marked by those two plaques. It's not the stone behind, it's actually the guy is buried underneath these two plaques. The guy's name was Benjamin Drawater. He died in 1815, and his claim to fame is that between 1772 and 1775 he sailed with Captain Cook, circumnavigating the world. And when you think what it was like in 1772, big sailing ships, I don't know if it was a Golden Hind, but it was certainly with Captain Cook. And yeah, he died in 1815, so he lived a good life, which was unusual in those days. But I love history, and I love anything about local history as well, and it's unbelievable that in a little churchyard like this you'll find something like that. Okay, catch you in a while. Yeah, great sign to see the crocuses coming up and the snowdrops. Some crocuses on this side, though you can't see them very well. But yeah, the snowdrops are always a sign that spring is as good as here, and the weather can only get warmer. But they don't last very long. They look great when they're here. So I've posed many brides and grooms at this gate here to take some photographs with the beautiful scenery in the background. As I say, another life a long time ago, probably 30 years ago. But yeah, I used to come down here quite a lot and take the pics. But I have to honestly say I don't miss it. The stress. I used to be a driving instructor, and taking wedding photographs was a lot more stressful, especially when the bride's mother got involved. But that's another story. Okay everybody, have a great week, and I shall see you on Friday. Cheers.